Hey everybody, welcome to Elevate Her Soul. I'm your host, Jen Abra. I don't know why I say that every time. I guess you guys should know that by now. And I don't even know what episode it is. We're going to guess episode 8. But does it really matter? No, it's fine. So I have another guest on the podcast here today. And I know I always am super excited, but seriously, I'm super excited. And I'm like buzzing and jumping off the walls right now. And I think she is too, but it's okay. So I have Courtney with me, and she is a girl on a mission. Her mission is to live a bravely beautiful life. She is an intuitive writer. Oh, my arm hair is standing up right now. A thought leader, and she loves to tell people she's an Aquarius. Okay, we're going to talk about that seriously. Okay, we're going to talk about that. She loves creating and writing and using both of those tools to inspire and empower others to really dig deep, feel their feels. I love that. That's like a cool saying right now. And trying her best to encourage vulnerability by showing up in the messy, the chaos, and the beautiful parts of life. And she's obsessed with astrology, which we're also going to talk about. Dark chocolate. I don't know if we can be friends. Just kidding. It's fine. Any chocolate's okay. And recently, mediums. Wow. So, welcome, Courtney. I'm so excited to have you here for Reels.
Yay!
For
Thank you. I'm
real.
so excited. This is
This,
amazing.
I feel like we're twinsies today. Like,
I know we're actually like
good.
all in black. I just got my eyebrows done, so like my eyebrows are dark just like yours.
I'm
Like,
so sad I haven't had my eyebrows done in like 3 months. I've had to do it myself, and that's not good for me.
no, it's hard. Yeah.
Yeah, you have beautiful eyebrows. No one can see your eyebrows, but they're beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Awesome. So I'm just going to share before we get into this. I want to share why I chose you or why I was drawn to you. And I feel like I have a girl crush on this woman here. I don't have a lot of girl crushes, but this one, you guys, if you guys totally follow her on Instagram, it's Bravely Beautiful blog. Yes?
Yeah, that's it.
And she just drew me in. I don't even know how I found you. This happens to everyone, right? Like, I don't even know how I found you.
The rabbit
Well,
hole.
we know the universal reason why, but I don't like physically remember how I found you. But honestly, I was reading her stuff. I found her and I was reading her stuff and I was blown away. I'm like, this girl needs to have these blogs published because I'm also a writer. And, I guess maybe I was attracted to that and just the energy of your post that you were doing. Also, I love your personality. Like,
Oh,
I seriously love your personality, or want to call that energy, whatever you want to call that. I love your vulnerability. Like, you're like a Brene Brown dream.
oh my God. It's like the kindest thing ever. I love her so much.
Yeah, but that's what she talks about, and you
Yeah.
embody that, and I know it doesn't matter how old you are, but you're obviously younger than me, because I was going to call you like a whippersnapper, but
Oh my God, yes.
I want to talk about the YouTube video. Oh my gosh. Anyways, there was just so many reasons why I was drawn to you, and I'm like, I know she'd say yes, but I don't want to come across as too like, can you please be on my podcast because you're
Oh my God.
awesome.
I was like, when I got that, I literally was like, my jaw just dropped. I was like, yeah, of course. Like, it's
Well, I
amazing.
bet you get asked a lot to do things. Like, I bet you get a lot of opportunities because your energy is so joyful. You're attracting all of these things.
Oh, that's so sweet. I feel like it's like slow. It's been a slow process, but yeah, like it's crazy that like universal connection or whatever you want to call it of like people who are starting to be like drawn into your life. And I've noticed in the last little bit, I don't know if it's because it, like the more vulnerable I am or whatever, like I'm just literally just showing up the way that I feel. But yeah, I've been noticing that like more people that I even feel more connected to, like you, like I love your stuff, and it's like somehow it's like starting to come together. So that's been really amazing. So I was stoked when you were like, yeah, come on.
So you're going to say cool words like stoked, and I'm going to say
Yeah,
old lady words like whippersnapper and yeah, young lollygagger and all this
I love it.
goodness.
I love it. I say old words too. I have
Yeah,
an old soul somewhere in there. So
it's all good. We are going to be, and I think that is one of the reasons I was drawn to you is because I'm also showing up in that way. And it's not saying that there's anything wrong or bad about people who are not ready to show up in that way. They get to choose how they want to show up on social media. But I think more and more people are totally wanting that. They're craving that
Mhm.
realness. Like, I just need to see someone else showing up the way I feel because usually they can't do it themselves yet. And,
Yeah, that's
as an inspiration energy kind of thing.
yeah. I love the way that you said that actually. That makes total sense. And yeah, I really like that.
Okay, so let's talk about what you do. I know it's like this. I don't like going to networking events. What do you do? What do you do? I want to know. Okay, so here's the thing. Tell me what you want to tell me. What do you want to tell me? What do you want to tell me about what you are being and doing?
Right. Okay. So I have been writing my blog at Bravely Beautiful blog for just over a year. I haven't like been published or anything like that. It sort of just came from a place of like, I think like what you just said, I really was wanting to be inspired by other people, and I was feeling different feelings that weren't necessarily being shown everywhere, and I was kind of feeling lost throughout like so many different parts of my life, which we all feel. And then I was like, I'm just gonna like do this. Like I just kept getting the nudge over and over again. And I kind of noticed that like it was weird. I kept getting like it was almost like my brain was like making posts, like Instagram posts, long before I even had this Instagram account. So yeah, I've just found a way. I was like, oh, blogging, like I guess I'll try this. And just like as I've gone on, it's really just like been me sharing my like vulnerabilities, and then kind of like surprisingly just turned into a lot more of like intuitive writing is what I like to call it, I guess. And yeah, it's sort of just evolved from there. And I guess like as I grow, it keeps growing. So it's been great. I also have a lot of other like creative projects on the side, which I'm trying to like somehow form all together. It, like you said about YouTube, which is super fun. I love it. It takes a lot of work, but it's something that it's just another form of creative expression. So yeah, I really like that. And then astrology, I'm like getting more into that and like creating workbooks, and long-term goal, I definitely want to write a book. So you are very inspiring to
Oh,
me.
remind me to get your address after. I'll send you a book to say thank
Okay.
you. Yeah.
Oh, oh my gosh, so exciting. But yeah, like I feel like it's kind of that journey that just like what I like to say to people, and you can probably relate to this on some level, but it's like I almost sort of feel like these are the things that are like choosing me. Like I just had to like get out of my own way and just kind of like allow it, which is so hard to do. But the more that like Bravely Beautiful evolves, and like as I evolve, it's just me getting out of my own way and being like, okay, well, like I gotta write this, or like I have to say this. Like, yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense,
Oh,
but
yeah, for sure it does.
so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now.
So
uh,
that all of that is amazing. All of that is very expansive. All of it is very aligned. It's very aligned. It feels very aligned. You can tell by your energy. You don't have to
oh,
force. You don't have to force it, right?
yeah.
So I know I have. I don't usually work with a plan, and I feel like this is an example of why is that I want to follow my plan of like ask her this, this, and this, and then my brain's like no, ask her this. So I want to talk about the YouTube video. I don't know why. I didn't know you did YouTube videos. I think how many do you? How many? I only saw one.
Okay, so there's like I think I've done 5. It's very new. Yeah.
Okay, so let me just explain what happened. So I like to be prepared sometimes for, having guests on the podcast. And so I don't call it stalking. It's research. So I came across on your Instagram, your Linktree account, links, and it was a YouTube. I'm like, oh, she has YouTube. And I watched the one on your, the drinking one, the
Oh, my
curious,
super curious.
sober
Mhm.
curious. That's it. So I watched that this morning. Oh my gosh. You're like the cutest thing. But the way you explain your experience, like I bet you, I mean, I can't relate to it really because I just decided one day that I couldn't drink anymore
Mhm.
because of the spirit work that I was doing, and it was attracting things that were obviously not the best for me. So I rarely drink unless I'm on a beach in Bali somewhere, then I'll drink a mojito. But then, right. So I kind of didn't really have a choice to do that. So when I was watching your videos, like a lot of people, like so many of the things that you already do that you've created, so many people can relate to that. And you're so authentic in it. You're so like, well, here I am. It's like you might as well have been naked on the video if they would allow that, right? Because you just like bared it all. And I love that.
Yeah.
That's so what we need right now. And we need more of that. So, what inspired you to do that video? Because I think people should watch that.
Yeah. Well, I totally appreciate you saying that. Yeah, that was something that a lot of people actually asked me about. And I was like, oh, I guess now that I have, like, I'm on YouTube, this would be a good time to like get on there and actually talk it out as opposed to write it. Cause I did write a blog post about it too. It's just a different energy talking as opposed to writing, which
Yeah.
you know as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, so that whole experience, it's kind of like it was just something that kept coming up, and like I just really needed to do it for, I don't even know what. It was something like this energy behind me just being like this, like you have to do this. And um I did it. I did 6 months and like just was really wishy-washy at first on like if I was gonna fully do it, which you saw in the video. But yeah, I did it and I realized a lot from it. And I think like one of the biggest things is that it's just like a lot of my stuff came up during that time where I wasn't drinking. And it was almost like I took the band-aid away. And then all of my stuff came up and I had to feel it all. And
Mm-hmm.
through that, it was like, okay, well, like, here I am. And like, that was a big transformation. So, yeah, I think like just being able to show up and show people that like it is scary to feel and it like it does suck. Like it's hard. And my goal with it was just to kind of be like, look, like we are in a society where a lot of things have been told to us that we need to make us feel better, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes they're okay to do that. But for me, it wasn't anymore. So yeah, I just wanted to get on there and be as honest as possible with my experience, and hopefully it inspired somebody. So,
If I was a drinker right now, like numbing my feelings, I'd totally be like, I need to do what she's doing, right? It would be something
yeah.
that would be inspiring, you know? So someone maybe who is sort of still in that energy of like, because I used to do this when my kids were small and I had a lot of pain too that I didn't work on. I didn't want to look at or anything. And I remember like those mom thing, you know, like mom wine nights and this kind of stuff. I was like, totally into that, like book club, and we had to have some wine with this because I didn't want to deal with the feelings. I didn't want to deal with the the negative emotions I was feeling. I didn't know how to deal with that because basically I was in survival mode,
Yeah.
right? It was a
Mm,
survival mechanism, and I didn't want to deal with my feelings that were making me feel guilty and shame. And so, what do? You like the kids are in bed. Where's that glass of wine? Like I lived for that glass of wine at the end of the day, right? And it
yeah.
actually it didn't make me feel better. It kind of numbed it a little bit for maybe an hour, but then after you're like, oh, this doesn't feel good either, right? But you just keep
Right.
doing because that's all you know. So
Yeah.
sometimes at the time you just do what you know at the
Hmm.
level that you're at and level of consciousness, and then like you said, you
Yeah.
grow and you know you
Yeah.
expand and you learn from these things that you realize, okay, one day you're like, hey, this shit does not work
Yeah. And like
anymore.
it's like what you just said. It's like almost like that survival mode of people who like I was there. Like we literally are all there. Like look at what we're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's I think it's not, it's okay when you're in that space, but then when you realize you're like, hey, I actually need to do something about this, I'm not happy with where I'm at, like wherever that like comes from, then it's like, okay, well then it's like your choice to make the change. And that's like kind of where I was at, so I couldn't ignore it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's a personal choice, right? You
totally,
get to the point when you get to the point.
yeah,
Sometimes we
100%.
sometimes we wait till it's too late, or like it's like really far gone, and you're like on the floor, literally, like I was. And I think in your video you also talked about being on the floor too. I'm like, we're twins, like we have like a similar journey, right? Like on the floor and all this kind of stuff, like calling your
Bathroom floor.
parents. Yeah, the bathroom floor, and it's all you see little hairs everywhere. It's like gross. You really get down and dirty in this moment, but we
Yeah.
need that moment. We have to, like, I think spirit gives us that moment. And I think it was also already always planned that you were going to be in that energy so that you can wake up, right? So you
Yeah.
can wake up and be like, okay, not, this isn't working for me. So now
Mhm.
I have to make a choice. I have to choose
Yeah.
something different because if you always
Yeah.
do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got.
Exactly. And it's true, like actually how you said, like with your gifts, like your
Mm-hmm.
spiritual gifts and
Yeah.
stuff, it's like that was like such a, during that time for me, that 6 months, all I wanted to do was like write. And every time, well, it was before that 6 months, I was getting into this writing, and like anytime that I had like drank, it was like blocking. Like it's like I couldn't allow any of this like in, it was like I shut off my intuition, or it would go the complete opposite way and then
Mm-hmm.
I would have a lot of anxiety. And it was just like getting so much that I was like, okay, like I have to step away from this. And as I went through that 6 months of like my sober curious journey, I'm air quoting right now.
I do that
Um,
too. No one can
yeah.
see me, but I'm air quoting.
But yeah, as I went through that, it was like there was heartbreak, there was like loss, I felt grief, I felt stuff that like came from so long ago, but it just like almost broke my heart open.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a doorway opened up and all of this, like all my writing started to change. Like still even now saying it, I'm almost like, I can't even believe that happened. Like, but yeah, so yeah, it was kind of crazy to have that experience.
Yeah, and I love that you knew that you need to put that grief that you're experiencing somewhere, right? I talk about in the podcast, and I've talked about it in the past too. Is when you have grief, you do need to feel your feels, and you need to go through it, but you also need to transmute it into something else. Because
Yeah.
when you don't, you transfer it onto other people, right? So I think it's beautiful that a gift of writing came out of it. And for me, I've done that in the past too. I went through a really hard time and I started writing. Like the blogs were literally like barfing out of me because I'm in so much pain. I'm like, I gotta put this somewhere. I don't want it inside me anymore. So I like verbal diarrhea. Like I was like blah, 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 just writing all this stuff, and they were pretty good too, right? It was coming out. I was very creative when someone breaks your heart. So
Oh, true. Oh my
yeah.
God. Like literally, I remember, okay, my mom said something to me. She was like, "Do you think maybe like that's you should keep that to yourself?" And I was like, "No, like
Nope.
this is like
Yeah.
just let it out." Like, and it was like I literally remember saying to her, "I'm like, well, then if people have a problem with it, they can not date a creative person because where do you think like songwriters get their songs?"
That's what I say too. I'm like, how do you think these songs are created? Because they got a broken heart and they have to create something beautiful out of it, and we get to benefit from that
Yes.
pain,
Yeah,
right?
because
People get,
on some level we get it, like, and
yeah.
just don't know how to express it. So it's so like it is like that's like one of the most beautiful things I think about heartbreak or when
Mm,
something hurts so much is
yep,
it's like if you transmute it into something, it could be like a beautiful like piece of art, like and you never know who it's gonna help.
that's right. I love that. That's awesome. I think grief is beautiful. I mean, like I said in my podcast, I haven't had a lot of loss, but I've had loss in my personal life and in death of my grandmother. And I've had so many people sit on my couch here have
Mhm.
lost, like I can't imagine, like immeasurable grief and loss and sadness, and I can't imagine that it might be easier for me to transmute it, but I know for them eventually maybe a couple years, if they've lost someone super close, they will be able to find that space. I call it pockets of joy, where you will be able to do something with it or help or be a speaker about it, stand do speeches about it and speak about it in front of audiences, and you're going to help someone for sure.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so that's awesome. So I want to go on, not to cut you off, sorry. I also wanted to say I also find your blogs I'm really into words for some reason. All of a sudden I'm noticing words and how they sound, and like one of my favorite words is herald. Like not the man herald, but like I want to herald in this new energy. That's one of my favorite words. And like melancholy is another one that comes to mind when I read your blogs. They're very melancholy, but not in a bad way, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So you're getting the
Yeah.
point across. You're getting it across.
Yeah, I love that. I appreciate that so much.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's move on to this astrology Aquarius stuff.
Okay.
Okay. I don't mean astrology stuff. I mean the Aquarius stuff. Okay. So I need to share with you. I'm a Sagittarius. Okay.
I
So
think I knew that.
for
Creepily enough, I'm
yeah,
pretty sure I knew that.
for some reason, we're both stalking each other. For some reason, oh my gosh, I'm probably yelling at my producer's gonna be like, could you keep it down a little bit? For some reason, I attract Aquarius. Is this?
Oh, amazing.
Like men, women, and the men part, like I don't know if there's a stereotype associated with Aquarius, but for me, my stereotype on them, which I know I shouldn't do, but in my back of my mind, this is what I think, is that a lot of them, the ones that I know, are very, not maybe egotistical, but very, I don't want to say narcissist either. There's like some mean words associated with them, with the ones that I know.
No,
Um,
you're right. That's like
okay.
that can be very fitting. And yeah, I don't want to say especially for men because women can have that too. It doesn't matter if your
Yeah.
gender, but
Yeah.
there is typically that yeah, that can fit a lot of their description.
Okay. Just making sure, because I was like, is it just me or all
Yeah.
Aquarius is like that? Like even women I found too, like when I go look back in people who I've worked with, I'm like, they're all Aquariuses.
Oh, that's so
So I
fascinating.
don't know what it is about them, but I mean, it's interesting to me that, and I found out you're an Aquarius. I'm like, that's very interesting. I'm very curious. Like I'm very curious why I'm attracting, this certain sign.
Mm.
So did I, I don't know if I don't want to stereotype them, but like for me, I know
Yeah.
Sagittarius is sort of type is like traveler, freedom seekers, very impulsive, I
Mhm.
totally fit that.
Yeah.
Totally fit that.
Yeah. And you're a fire sign, and
Hmm.
Aquarius is air, which a lot of people think it's water, but it's actually air. So
Okay.
air and fire actually work really well together as the elements. Um,
Ah,
yeah. So Sagittariuses have the same qualities, just like Aquarius do when it comes to wanting freedom and travel and kind of being like, but setting their own path, sort of thing. They just sort of do it in their own unique ways.
right.
So it makes sense that Sagittarius and Aquarius would like you would come up against a lot of those people in your
Hmm.
life because you can complement each other and you can also like kind of push each other in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always
So,
like usually a headbutt in energy
oh
in
yeah.
them for sure. I
Like
think
my
like a power thing, like it's like they both are very powerful in their energy and their knowing who they are, that kind of thing.
that's a really good way to put it. I think like even with the like belief systems, like Sagittariuses are really they're really strong in their beliefs when they like feel something or they're very philosophical. And when they know something is right, that's like
Mm.
that's it. Like
Yep.
it's like this is like it's here. This is what I believe. This is what I'm going to do. Very like activism.
Mm.
And Aquariuses are like that, just in a different way. So it's kind of like they can come up against each other or they can complement each other. It's cool to think about.
Yeah, I'm very curious. I just want to know why there's always an attraction there, right?
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
I love astrology.
Hmm.
I don't understand, like I don't do it myself because I know it's very detailed oriented. I know you have to really study it, from what I know, anyways. But you
Yeah.
can pick up things though from other leaders, like people on social media, and like, right? How
Hmm.
would I know what a Gemini is like, or because I'm watching other people talk about it, right? So I think it's really cool that you do it, and I think I saw that you're creating some things with that now.
Yeah, so I've been making some workbooks. I like to call myself like a student astrologer. But that's going to evolve, I've decided in the next few months. So yeah, my goal would be to actually be able to read birth charts for people, which like you said is very it's like another language to learn. But it's one I'm interested in. So what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of creating these workbooks so that people can like I really like to journal and I love writing. So what I do is basically use the energy of the sign and then like write a couple journal prompts, and then that way you kind of know the energy that you're moving through, because it changes all the time, right? So on some level, like for example, the next full moon is in Sagittarius and it's an eclipse. So with the workbooks that I create, what I'm doing is like I'll give like a rundown of like what that energy is, and then like some prompts on what to do, and then maybe like an activity or something to work through it. It's just another creative project that I
Yeah, no, I saw
dove
that.
into. Yeah.
I know. I think that's really cool that all these things are evolving out of things, right? Like something
Right.
happens, and then this creativity just keeps growing and expanding, and I think it's fascinating.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to
Fascinating.
keep up with. You're like, okay.
I know, like, okay, there's 4 retrogrades and 5 eclipses, and I don't know what's happening right now because my life is falling apart, and I'm stuck in my house, and I can't do anything I want to. I can't travel.
Yeah, exactly. And for a Sagittarius, you're like, I just want to like go. Like, I don't want to be
I
here.
know, like, I'm ready to go to Costa Rica now. And
Yeah.
I'm like texting my friend, when is Costa Rica going to open up again? Because I want to come to your resort.
Oh my gosh, I love it. That's so funny.
That's awesome. Okay, so I also noticed going back to your, not to go back and forth, but we can fix this. But your one of your blogs, I forget what it was called, but it talked about there was a prediction in there. Did you notice that?
I don't know.
Yeah, there was a prediction. So
Okay.
one of the it was sort of a prediction, and you talked about this energy building of groups and hatred and fire. Like I wrote it
Whoa.
down. I wrote it down. I'm like, oh, she's secretly psychic too. Yeah,
Oh
like yeah, you
my
predicted like I think it was maybe the beginning of May.
gosh.
This I forgot,
Okay.
I should have written it down, but we'll go back
I
and
have,
look at it.
yeah, I'll go back and look.
But it was talking about hatred and fire, like people setting things on fire, maybe. But the energy behind what you said was that I was like, oh, she's psychic. I love
Mm.
it. So I feel like your intuition, air quotes again, your intuition that you call it. And you also talked about on your story about channeling. I'm going to channel. And I'm like, dude, you're already channeling. So
Okay, so it's funny that you said that. I'm like, sometimes I write and I don't actually know like what I'm writing, and then I'll
yeah,
go back and read it after, and I'm like, whoa, like did
yeah.
that come from me? Or
No,
some
that's channeling.
okay.
What you call intuitive writing is right because I can't write anything unless I get that inspired action hit. Like I'll be like walking around my house and I'm like, oh, it's coming, and Chell's like, oh, you're gonna write? I'm like, yeah, go get out of my way, and blah blah blah, blah, and it's out.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes. I like resonate with that. And
Hmm.
that's okay. Like, I love the fact that you just said that, because sometimes I'm like, what is happening? It's almost like my body,
Yeah.
like it, and you have to give it space to come. And I try to give myself space in the morning. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. Like, it just totally depends. But like, there's been times where I've been like at work and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I need to like stop what I'm doing right now and
Hmm.
like go to the washroom and just like
Okay, I knew you were gonna say that. So I was going to tell you like I can't write anymore, but I shouldn't say that because I can write in the bathroom.
oh my
Do you know,
god.
don't, people are gonna pretend, oh my god, she has her phone in the toilet in the bathroom. Like seriously,
Everyone
everyone does that. Come
does.
on. So I'll just admit it. I'll be the only person in the world who admits that. But seriously, if I have my phone, that is when the inspiration comes. Like
Mm,
because I can't make myself write. Like if I had to write a book and I had a deadline, I'd be screwed because I can only write when I have that feeling come over me.
mm,
And that's when the creativity starts to flow. I can't force my creativity. So
yeah.
lately, those posts that you're seeing on my Facebook is all done in the bathroom. So when you next time you read it, you'll be like, I know where she typed that. But you have to do it when you have to write when you have to write, and that I don't have it any other time. So
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I love that. I think like bathroom writing, it's almost like we like get insights in the shower. Like, so you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
for
it's
sure.
a great place. Like
Well, like, I think it's because it's the water. Like they say, water is a conductor of energy. Because I remember
mm,
being in the this is gonna like be like what? But I was in the shower a couple years ago at my old house, just having a shower, just minding my own business, and the Pleiadians wanted to talk to me. So,
what?
like I could hear Pleiadian. They said, I'm like, what? And they were giving me messages, and I get a lot of stuff in the shower too. So
Oh my
I think
gosh, I love
it's
that.
gotta be the water. It has to something
Mm,
with the water. I don't know, but whatever
yeah.
works. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, well that does make sense. Like, I live in Vancouver, and luckily enough, like for us, I've been able to go to the ocean quite a bit. Which has been like kind of like, I call it like my little saving grace through all of this, because
Hmm.
like my family's not here or anything, and I just feel so connected to the water. And there's been a lot of like ideas and creations that as soon as I step foot and just like sit and listen to the ocean, it's like it'll just come. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I didn't know that about water.
Hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. I wish I was near the ocean.
I know, I'm sorry, everyone's like, yeah, lucky you.
No,
Like,
that you're so blessed, and I love that you have that opportunity to do that. For you, it was the ocean in this quarantine. For me, it was binge watching The Office.
which is amazing, just as amazing.
Right? It just brought me joy. I had to, and
Yeah.
you had to bring it in somewhere, and I wasn't able to go anywhere. So I'm like, I'm going to do this to make me feel happy and joyful. So
Yeah,
that's what I did.
I love it.
Yeah. Is there any shows that you binge watch?
Yeah, I've been binge watching New Girl, which I like am obsessed with. It's so funny. I don't know if you watch it or not, but like it's just been one of those ones where you can just put it on and like kind of have something in the
Yeah.
back, but also just like I'm always like, like just, so yeah, it's been good. I love having that.
Yeah, for whatever we can get, man, whatever we can get.
Right? Thank goodness for Netflix.
I love it. Yeah, I just think so many people can resonate to that right now, and we just need to not cling on
Mm,
to other people, but we like usually on a soul level, and you can usually feel joy on your own, right? You'd be able to in alignment, you'd be able to dig that joy out of you and that appreciation out of you. But when things like this happen, sometimes you got to reach for the outside tools. You have to reach for the resources, right? So the ocean or the office or something that's going to bring that joy from the outside in when you can't do it from the inside out.
yeah, I love that. And I think as well, like it's such a like it goes to show that like everyone plays such a big part in all of what we're going through, like comedians even. Like there's been a few
Hmm.
nights where I'll put on like stand-up comedy, or like music, like everyone's purpose, or whatever they're really passionate about has been helping somebody else in like some crazy way. So it's kind of cool to see all of that.
Yeah, it's been a gift.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so tell me about the medium thing where you said you were like all of a sudden
You know what's so funny
you're
is
all about the mediums.
my nose is so itchy right now. Sometimes this happens. I'll get like really itchy ears or like really itchy nose. Sorry, I'm like, eh.
No, they can't see you
um,
anyways. I can laugh at you, but they can't see
yeah.
you. Not see your
Okay.
nose.
Yeah. So I just am so fascinated, and I actually found you through Bree. So I watched your live,
Okay.
which was really cool. And Bree is from the same hometown as me. So
Oh, you're from
yeah, I
Kitchener?
like. Well, she's from Brantford, so that's
Oh,
where
okay.
I'm.
Oh, okay.
And we've never met. So,
Okay.
it's kind of crazy. But anyway, so yeah, I like started through in this quarantine. I was like, oh my gosh, like all of a sudden I'm like learning from like you, from Bree, from there's another girl that I just met. She also has a podcast, and her name is Steph. She's also a medium. And yeah, I've just been like connecting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are so cool. And I just like want to know like what it's like, and just like so interested. So yeah, it's been really cool to like dive in and hear what you guys are all about.
Well, I don't know if you've been told this before, but you're a medium as well.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously. Come on, you already know that.
No one's ever told me that. And when I have gone to see mediums, no one has ever picked up on anything for me. It's always been like, yeah, this is bizarre. Like I've gone with like my mom, and my mom is like, she is interested, but she's very she's just a little bit guarded, I think.
Hmm.
And she'll be like over on like the other side, and they're like picking up stuff for her, and I'm like, do you want to come?
Yeah, you want to pick me this time? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's so funny. Oh my god.
Yeah. If you, so do you have a meditation practice?
I do. Well, yes, I do my Reiki. So
Okay.
I've just like done my level 2 Reiki, and that's kind
Awesome.
of helping a little bit. But yes, I'm trying to do a more scheduled meditation practice. I know you're big on that. So
I am. Just because I know
yeah.
the huge effects, the
Mm,
outcomes of it. But what I was going to ask you is because when I teach mediumship, I always say what my teacher said is that if you don't meditate, it's really hard to connect. So if you started meditating, I see you down the road for you probably. If you opened up more, the nose itching and the ears thing is probably a subtle way not to freak you out that you have a loved one in spirit that's trying to get your attention. And eventually, especially with Reiki was the thing that I'm a Reiki master teacher. And so Reiki was the thing that opened me up to the spirit world even more than I knew was possible. And that's, that's when things started coming in. And then, so you will be open up. The more you open up, the more you expand. It also will attract your spirit gifts.
oh my gosh.
So just be
Okay.
prepared for that.
Yeah. Well, it's like interesting that you say that about Reiki, because like it's definitely been I love Reiki. I think it's been so amazing to learn. The second one that I did, this level 2, my third eye, like all up here was just like it felt like, again, nobody can see me, but it just felt like such an expansion of
Yeah.
like I don't even know how to put words to it. And I know that people who've done Reiki probably understand. But yeah, like, well, I'm here for it. I'll do it.
Yeah, it opened Reiki. I noticed like when I teach Reiki for me, and I'm sure other Reiki masters too, is I approach it in a very sacred way. So if I teach like mediumship or psychic development or whatever manifestation, whatever I'm teaching that day, this teaching Reiki is completely other level. Like it is sacred to me, and I approach it with the ancient history behind it. And I even talk different people say I don't know if I'm just because I didn't realize the importance of it. But I noticed with Reiki, that's the one thing, and I think it's the attunement. I could be wrong, but in my opinion, when I've taught at many Reiki classes, is that the attunement is what sets you off. It just people have reported. I always say after, what did you experience? If you want to share, and they have they see these like fireworks and these lights and these animals, and everything comes in after the attunement.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
I literally was like, what is happening?
yeah.
Like, that's like, And I said that to my masters. I was like what is going on here? Like
Yeah.
like my head like open. I saw like
Yep.
sparkles, like all like it was beautiful, but also like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, this is insane.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
think Reiki is
Well,
like the best thing if anyone is going to start to do something first, and if they, they're just starting on their journey, definitely go get your Reiki for sure. It
wow.
just opens you up so much, and it just allows, I feel like you open the door to everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I call Reiki my foundation. Reiki was my foundation, and I built the building on top of that foundation. Everything else that I started doing was built on that. So that's just my opinion. And if you're going to start somewhere, start with Reiki for sure, because
Yeah.
it does open you up.
Yeah.
I think it's
I
so
love
sacred. It's so sacred and ancient. Like, it's old.
Yeah, it is. And like
Yeah.
even the history of it and everything, it does feel like a foundational base, like 100%.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that. That's like,
Yeah.
ah!
Yeah. So just wait. So just wait. You're
Okay.
gonna start to open up more, and you'll start to understand why you're getting these itches. And yeah,
Okay.
you just wait.
Okay.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
I'll try not to be scared. I feel
You'll
like
be.
that's, and you probably hear this, like, because you obviously teach, but there's definitely part of me that's kind of like, okay, I'm here for it, like I want to, but then it's like, oh, I'm a little bit nervous. And so yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So when this starts to happen for you, just make sure you get a really good mentor.
okay.
Like, don't do it on your own. I mean, you can get it on
Okay.
your own, but I don't recommend that, because there
Right.
are a lot of systems in place for
Mhm.
safety, right? It's not just like, hey, I'm gonna open up my chakras and here, who wants to come talk to me? Because you're gonna have a hell of a time organizing that. You'll be woken up at 3 a.m. and you'll be walking down the street. Like, just that's my advice to you, is to get
Oh
a
my
mentor.
God, Jen, this is amazing. I love this so much.
Oh, you don't even know half of the stories. I don't want to take up all the time
I
here talking.
know. Oh my God, one day I'm just gonna be
Yeah.
like, tell me
Yeah.
everything.
And sometimes I have students who sign up and they're like, what have I gotten myself into? Because of the thing, like, what do you mean I have to do this? And then, what do you mean there's this? And I get my paranormal dictionary out there. Like, what do you mean that what? Like, it's crazy. Yeah. So that's my next question that I ask every
Okay.
guest. I've decided that I'm going to ask every guest this, because obviously this is a spiritual podcast. And so going into that, I don't know if you know this, and a lot of people don't know this about me, is that I was a paranormal investigator, and I was part of a team where we had all the cool ghost hunter equipment, like legit, like 20,000 plus
Like
dollars
Ghostbusters?
of this stuff. We had hoodies and everything. It was freaking amazing. But my question to you is, and I'm going to ask everyone, is if you could be a paranormal investigator, would you, and why or why not? So for the listeners here, if you don't know what a paranormal investigator is, it's someone who literally goes into haunted houses and spirit activity buildings and investigates it. And it's not, those TV shows, honestly, like Ghost Adventures, and those are real, okay? Those are not made up. Like,
Mm.
maybe the dramatics of like, oh my God, I'm scared. Like, the dramatics could be just for TV, but what they're actually looking for, what they find and what they feel and what they are being told by these homeowners and these business owners is actually real.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
so you go
Okay.
in and you usually, I was the medium in this, and I would go in and I would feel what I tell them what I saw, and then we would go around with the equipment to either debunk what was happening in the house or things that were going on, and stuff like that, and try to help the homeowner into either removing it or find out why it's there. So would you ever do that, and why or why not?
Oh my gosh, this question. First of all, like that's amazing that you've done that. I used to really love watching all those shows. I really did for a really long time. And then I don't know what happened, but I started to get a little bit freaked out. So I kind of stopped. I would like to think I would.
Okay,
That's what I would.
that's
I would
fair.
like
That's
to
fair.
think I would,
Yeah.
but if it came down to it, I don't know if I actually could or not. And the reason why is because, yeah, I think it's that like little bit of like, well, it's unknown. It's a little bit scary, not like not having control. I don't even know if that's it. I think it's just that unknown of like, oh my God. But it's also enticing. So I don't really know.
Okay, well, for me, people are always like, it's too scary. I couldn't go. You crazy. Even Bree's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going in there. You're crazy. Because I wanted to start like an all girls paranormal team. She's like, I'm not coming.
Okay,
Uh,
that would be kind of cool though. That would
it
be kind
totally would.
Yeah.
It's on my to do list
Mhm.
eventually, but you'd have to move back here to Ontario. So if you wanted to join us, we'll
I'm
take you
just
on a
like
Zoom
outside the
call.
house. You're like,
Oh
let's go.
yeah, we'll FaceTime you. Okay, we'll just bring you on the phone and you be safer.
I'm like a little robot or something.
That's right. Then you wouldn't be scared.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's scary at all. I never was scared. I can't recall ever being scared. Um, Maybe nervous of the unknown. But what I learned was that the paranormal world, the spirit world, is just teaching you what you need to know about yourself. So if you were afraid to go in something to the unknown, that's showing you to look at your life. Well, what am I afraid of in my own life that I don't know what's coming yet? Am I trying to control my outcomes? Do I need to know what's coming all the time, or can I just allow things to unfold and be what they are going to be? And I also learned too is that people create these energies. So when you go into a house that's haunted, quote air quotes again, some of the time it's legit. Some of the time, the spirit is trapped there. It's been there for like hundreds of years and it wants to get out and it's whatever. But sometimes you create these energies. You create them with your emotions. So if you have a lot of fear going into that and you're very dramatic and you have something really negative relationship wise going on in the house, that actually creates these energies and these entities that are all of a sudden appearing in the house. So, like in say 2005, you could have had one spirit, and by the time someone comes to help you in 2020, you have like 14 in there. So people don't
Oh,
realize that you actually create these energies sometimes in these houses. And so knowing
wow.
that going in, it's not as scary because you want to help, right? You want to
Mm,
help the homeowner and realize that it's not just a woo woo or this ridiculous thing that people really don't believe in.
yeah.
It's actually deeper than that. So
Right.
that's my deeper soul version of why I wanted to do it. And plus it's really cool. Plus it's super cool.
Yeah.
And we had hoodies and we had like the coolest equipment and stuff. And yeah,
Just
it
like
was awesome.
picturing like a squad, like you guys
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
rolling in there, like so cool. I love that. I would
Yeah.
maybe perhaps be down for the girls group.
All right. All right. We're gonna send you a moving truck so you can come back to
Okay.
Ontario. And I'm going to manifest this, but I feel like also like that came into my life at a time where I needed to learn some really important stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
it's deep. I'm going to do a whole paranormal episode, but I just wanted to I love to ask my guests, if they would want to do it. And so far the consensus is no way. Even if I entice them with a hoodie, they're like,
Yeah.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think
Wow.
it's cool. I respect your answer, and everyone
Okay.
has their own journey, right? So maybe
Mhm.
that's not something that you need to do right now.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll
She's
see.
still thinking about that hoodie. We can make a real cool logo. It's gonna
I
be
am
awesome.
like I really want like a Ghostbusters outfit. That's why I would do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm picturing
I
it.
know we're such girls. Like, oh, if there's clothes,
Yeah.
yeah, yes, I'll
And then
totally do it.
I want like some like pink like just like I
Yep.
don't even know.
I already have the vision in my brain. We just have to find the time to do it.
Okay.
Awesome. Okay, well, this has been awesome. Seriously, I would talk to you all day.
Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. I loved
Seriously.
it so much. This is
So,
yeah.
can you share with people how they can get a hold of you? I know you can get that on Instagram, but
Yeah, so you can follow me at Bravely Beautiful blog. That's where I do most of my writing. Then my blog is there, Bravely Beautiful, and then my personal account is at I am Court Burns, and then that's kind of like my whole YouTube journey is there.
mhm.
Got some stuff on Etsy, and yeah, just some things to come in the future. So reach out if you
Well,
want.
I can't wait.
Yeah, thank you.
And if you love like high vibe, super happy, bubbly, beautiful, inspiring energy, go follow Courtney. And if you don't, then don't. But you
Yeah,
should.
whatever.
This is what elevate her soul is all about. Really, is like raising the vibe one podcast at a time and having people on here and having real conversations. Like this is
Yeah.
like a dream for me to have a real conversation because you don't always get that. So especially now in the quarantine where we can't be around people. So
Yeah,
I
this has
appreciate
been
it.
so refreshing and just like such a great conversation. And yeah, it was so real. Like, I love this. I'm all about like spiritual combos. So thank
Right?
you.
I can't even
Yeah.
talk about normal things anymore. How's the
No,
weather? Hey Joe, how's the weather today? Did you
nah, not
did you
not for
did you
me.
buy some new boots? Like I can't. I just can't. It makes
You're
me
like, I was
physically ill.
a paranormal investigator. I can't do the
That's
weather.
how I get. That's how I get people to like me. Okay, just kidding. Will you be my friend? I could talk to ghosts.
Oh my god, I love it. Oh, it's amazing.
So thank you so much for being a guest. But I just want to end the podcast with quoting you. So
Oh,
you'll be quoted here. So you
yeah.
have this quote on one of your blogs. I wonder if it's the same one as the prediction that you didn't know you predicted. So one of the quotes that you wrote in your blog was, "For the first time in forever, I get to breathe again." And I was
Mm,
like, whoa. It's like one of those moments where you're
yeah.
like first I started singing this Frozen song, but then I was like reading into the, I was like, this is so beautiful. Bravely Beautiful blog. Go follow her on Instagram. And yeah, I can't wait to keep following your stuff. And I'll try not to stalk you too much now because I've done the research and, but I'm going to keep following you because I think you have the best energy.
Well, and now we're just like stalking each other all the
It's
time,
fine.
so
It's
it's
all
all
good.
good.
It's all good. Could be worse. It could
Yeah,
be worse.
I
Okay,
love it.
thanks, Courtney. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
soon. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
So, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. And I have a couple of announcements I want to mention is that I have created my very first spiritual retreat. And I'm super excited. End of July. And that's going to be so fun. I have a beautiful yoga instructor coming. I have recently closed down my page, The Singing Medium, because I am evolving as we all are. And we're all expanding and we're all elevating. So, my new page is Elevate Her Soul by Jen Abra. And I hope you come on over there and check that out. And thank you again so much for listening. And I can't wait for the next episode.